Fisherman, Aqua Duelist here. And this last levels I went to, I got first place at Ballpark. Made some people salty. It was a lot of fun. And then the week before that, I also topped with Ballpark. And, in general, I've just topped with Ballpark, quite a lot through, all these different formats that I've just played it in. There's obvious formats where it's better, and, there's the ones where it's just worse. But I enjoy the deck, and I'm able to basically adapt with the formats and break whatever the board of the best deck is, essentially. Just gotta learn. You just gotta, learn the board, and you figure out how to break it. So yeah. But as all my time playing, this deck, I kind of just end up developing some, thoughts and realizing hidden. I guess you could say hidden aspects of the deck. Just things people wouldn't really realize or think of. I kind of pick up on, and stuff I consider when playing. So I thought I'd share some of that with you guys today, and I hope you all enjoy it. Now don't forget to harpoon that like button, harpoon that subscribe button for more awesome content, and drop any comments that y'all have. Now let's go ahead and jump into this. Alright guys, so first thing I kind of want to talk about here is the boss monsters that I use for Ballpark, because I feel like there's a bit more to them than people realize, especially since the grind game Ballpark has. I was actually able to outgrind full power Sky Strikers basically. So yeah, that's really freaking cool. But I just kind of want to dive a little bit under the surface with these, because I feel like people aren't really considering this aspect I want to share on these. So obviously use IP to make Avermax here, pretty insane. But I just kind of want to point out real quick that the way I see these. So Avermax is plan A for me. Black Glove Soldier is plan B. I know it takes a bit more to make this than Black Glove Soldier here, but I try to say this is a backup plan. And I see this as more defensive and this is more offensive. So when playing, that's two things to really consider when, if you're playing both, what to exactly make. Going first, I'm going to make Avermax. If I don't OTK, I'll probably make Avermax if I can. But whenever I make these, though, I always try to look at pay attention to two things in particular. Is my opponent able to out it? And how much resources do they have to use to do so? 20% of the time, my opponent actually can't out Avermax. It's kind of crazy it's that high. So this can actually just straight become a win con. I mean, honestly, if you make it in general, it's somewhat of a win con. Because the thing is, most of the time, my opponent is able to out it, but they have to struggle to do so and spend a lot of resources. So that kind of mixes well with the grind game aspect I was saying, because Ballpark has just this amazing grind game. So that can actually put you in a huge advantage. If your opponent actually has to use a lot of resources and they end up burning through it, they out the Avermax, they get punished, and on top of that too, they're usually left with subpar boards. If they didn't just make one big thing to out this, that's, sometimes that happens, and then, Avermax effect, when it goes to grave, I shuffle that back in. It's happened a few times, but, yeah, that's, just had to point that out too, wanted to. But yeah, so, it gets you in this winning position to where now your opponent kind of has, they just have less resources. And I don't think people really just kind of think about stuff like that with these. I think it's more just kind of like, make big boss monster, sit on it, kind of like, helmet. I think that's kind of, from, my experience, just other people playing these, that's just kind of what I think how they see them. And I just kind of want to share, there's more to this stuff below the surface, so. Alright guys, so something I kind of want to talk about here is the Utopia package, which I know I am playing Lightning, and most people just play, the Utopia double, the double or nothing regular Utopia. But in order to really just take full advantage of these cards, I feel like you have to play the Lightning. Now, I thought on this stuff for quite some time before I actually put Lightning in my deck, and the last few locals, last one I went to, I got first place. I topped the one before that, and Lightning has come up in both tournaments. I do want to say that. Now, there's just a lot more you can do now by playing Lightning. On top of this thing being out to Dragoon, which happened at this last tournament, and something like Crystal Wing. Because the reason why I'm saying Crystal Wing is because Wind Witches are getting more support, so that is something we could see come back into play. It's not for that, just throwing it out there. But something I do like is the fact that you can feed your opponent false information or misinformation. Because the thing is, if I'm making Lightning, I'm using Utopia Double to make it. And doing so by making Utopia Double and going into Lightning, my opponent assumes that I have double or nothing in my hand. So at that point, if you do that, and let's say you don't have it, if you keep one card in your hand at least, they're going to think it's that. Your opponent's not going to be worried as much and think you have a brick in your hand, which can lead to a surprise when they realize it's not, and it can actually cause them to play a bit more differently. So you can use that to a slight advantage. Want to throw it out there. And another thing too is, let's say you do draw the double or nothing. Well, now this Utopia Double in your deck or extra deck isn't exactly wasted, because you can use it to make Lightning, and then you can just make Utopia here, and then just use Utopia with double or nothing to swing for 5k, which isn't actually horrible. I do want to throw out like yeah, you never want to draw the double or nothing, but drawing it isn't the worst thing. That's just something I do want to point out. And let's say you do draw the double or nothing, you end up going making Utopia here. You swing, let's say you cleared your opponent's board, you can swing Ballpark, and you can use Utopia here on one of your Shiny Black Sea Squatters to basically get the full 8k damage with double or nothing here. So that's something, something else too. Sure, not many people are thinking about, but yeah, that's just how I fully utilize this package, and it allows me to win more games. Rather than just thinking the only thing to do here is just, double or nothing OTK. No, there's more to this than that, and that's something I wanted to share. Alright guys, so one of the things that's really kind of cool with this deck is, no matter how the format shapes, with decks making, 5 negates or whatever, every format, whatever the best board is, this deck can pretty much always break those types of boards. You just kind of gotta learn, what type, what their board is, and while you might not be able to just completely destroy their board with a Lightning Storm or Eruptive Kaiju Slumber, you're always able to really just kind of pick their board apart, which it's really nice. It's one of the things I do love about this deck. And we do play a lot of just cards, at least here in my build. Just picked out the the important cards here. Goki Pull, Alpha, which is the newest edition, which is really freaking good. Lightning Storm, Interrupted Kaiju Slumber with the Kaiju package. That right there is 16 cards that just can pick apart or break boards. And what's nice is the fact that none of them target. Goki Pull, Lightning Storm, and Interrupted Kaiju Slumber obviously destroy. Alpha doesn't target or destroy, which is really awesome. We'll talk about Alpha in a quick minute, but it's really freaking nice. And then that's 16 cards. And then Resonant Insect, while it can't destroy cards on their own or pick apart boards and stuff, it essentially can get you into a Kaiju and Goki Pull whenever you really need it. So you basically have 19 cards here, and then you play Foolish Burial and was it Gold Sark, which is basically a 4th and 5th copy of Goki Pull here, which is 21 cards, and then Ballpark can send Goki Pull, and you should be playing Terraforming. So it's basically 25 cards right there. They just kind of give you access to picking boards apart or breaking boards, and that's literally 60% of your deck. At least with my build, that's 60% of my deck can basically just break apart boards, and it's really freaking awesome. I don't think people realize just how much they really have. Now, I mean, obviously, something people can't afford lightning storms, which there's other cards you can play, you know, but alpha though isn't really expensive. Like they're $30 a pop, and for what it does, like there's no real replacement for it. So if you can get alphas, I would strongly recommend it. And something really cool that I do like, I want to point out here is with alpha is the fact that if you like interrupted kaiju slumber or you just kaiju something, you can drop alpha and then bounce the kaiju back to the hand, which it's really nice because you can kaiju again, or next turn you're kind of set if you can't OTK, and if your opponent reestablishes a board, you're able to out two monsters, and that's pretty freaking cool actually. Like it's awesome. This card's really freaking good. But yeah, like these in tandem with the kaiju package, really good. So yeah, that's just 25 cards that that can get you access to breaking boards or picking boards apart. And that's pretty freaking good.